All right, let's dive into one of the most interesting paradoxes in all of gaming, the beautiful, awe-inspiring, and just utterly terrifying world of Subnautica. Today, we're going to break down exactly how this game builds its special brand of fear.
You know, it all starts with a feeling that I think so many players can relate to. As one Reddit user put it, I had tried my hand at Subnautica, but noped out after about 10 hours of crippling fear. And look, this isn't some rare experience. It's practically the default setting for this game.
So that really brings us to the core question, right? How does a game about exploring this vibrant, almost friendly-looking alien ocean become one of the most profoundly terrifying experiences you can have in gaming? Well, the answer is a masterclass in psychological design.
Okay, first things first, we have to talk about the setting, the stage for all this terror, the environment itself. The game taps into our primal, hardwired fear of water to create something that's, well, an unexpectedly terrifying masterpiece.
And this right here just perfectly illustrates the game's central paradox. On one hand, you've got the look of the game. It's warm, it's colorful, it's got this kind of stylized, almost cartoonish feel. But then there's the actual feel of playing it. And as that same Reddit user called it, it's a pants-shitting simulator that plugs directly into our deepest anxieties about the ocean. You know, there's actually a term for this. Game theorist Monica Evans calls an environment like this deadly by default. What that means is, even before a single monster ever shows up, the world itself is designed to kill you. You don't belong here, and the ocean is this constant, hostile force.
And Dr. Evans actually breaks down why this underwater setting works so well to create fear. First, unlike most games, danger can come from literally any direction, above you, below you, behind you. Second, in that huge open water, threats can just appear out of nowhere, shockingly fast. Third, the sound design is pure genius. You are constantly hearing things, but you rarely see them, which just builds this incredible tension. And finally, the environment itself is lethal. You are always running out of air.
And get this, the game designers knew exactly what they were doing. Your own in-game computer tells you at one point, and I'm quoting here, this ecological biome matches 7 of the 9 preconditions for stimulating terror in humans. So yeah, this game isn't just scary by accident, it is a carefully engineered architecture of dread. See, I have this terrifying environment, but how does that actually tie into the gameplay? Well, the game's whole structure is about making progress through terror. You simply cannot advance without facing the very things that scare you the most. The only way to escape, the only way up, is to first go down. So here's the core dilemma, the trap that every single player falls into. To survive, to build better gear, to have any hope of escaping this planet, you have to travel deeper into that terrifying unknown. It's not a suggestion, it is the game's central, terrifying truth.
And this creates what you could call a gameplay loop of fear. It goes like this. You need better materials. But, of course, those materials are only found deeper down, which means you have to explore dangerous new areas, forcing you way outside your comfort zone. And what does that mean? It means that to make any progress at all, the game mechanically requires you to face your fears.
The way the developers pull this off is through something called blended design. It's basically a fusion of 2 ideas that don't usually go together. You get the total freedom of an open-world game, you can go anywhere you want, but you have the extreme vulnerability of a survival game. You are incredibly weak, and suddenly all that freedom becomes a huge source of anxiety. And this is the absolute masterstroke. As game developer Chris Menert points out, it's your decision to swim down, not that of a script, and that makes it infinitely more terrifying. The fear isn't coming from some scripted jump scare in a cutscene. It's coming from a choice you willingly make, knowing full well what could be waiting for you.
But okay, the game isn't just about being scared. The third act of this whole journey is about something else. It's about conquering that alien ocean, about transforming yourself from helpless prey into something that kind of resembles a predator.
I mean, early on, that little voice in your ear is constantly reminding you of your place at the bottom of the food chain. It'll warn you, detecting multiple Leviathan-class life forms in the region. Are you certain whatever you're doing is worth it? And let me tell you, in the beginning, the answer is almost always, nope, absolutely not worth it. But then, after hours and hours of pushing through that fear, something amazing starts to happen. Remember that same Reddit user who was totally terrified at the start? Well, they later wrote this. All the biomes that had previously made my skin crawl and my heart thump had become familiar stopping grounds. That's the transformation. Terror becomes territory.
And what's so incredible here is that this feeling of mastery, it doesn't come from combat.
You don't just get a bigger gun and kill all the monsters. No, it comes from knowledge, from learning the map, from understanding how the creatures behave. And it comes from the deep, profound feeling of safety you get from the tools and the bases that you build yourself. And I mean, listen to this quote from another player, a little quirky. It just captures that feeling perfectly. They said, "In my life, I return home from irritating jobs. I don't return from danger. So getting into that sea moth, I felt home." Your creations, they become these little sanctuaries in a deeply hostile world. And that creates this incredibly powerful emotional bond. So let's put all the pieces together and really look at the full architecture of Dread. This is where you can see Subnautica for what it is, an absolute masterclass in this blended design idea.
The emotion the game is really designed to create isn't just basic fear. It's something Monica Evans calls pervasive dread. This isn't about cheap jump scares. It's a growing, gnawing anxiety, a constant, gut-level feeling of foreboding that actually gets worse the deeper you go.
So here's the blueprint. This is how it all fits together. Subnautica takes the fear and anxiety from traditional horror games, using that deadly by default environment. Then it blends that with the freedom and awe of an open world, which creates this thrill of the unknown. And finally, it layers on top the vulnerability and weight of a survival game, where you're weak and every choice really matters. The fusion of those three is what creates that unique, pervasive dread.
And the result is something pretty revolutionary. As Dr. Evans puts it, Subnautica is a game that makes players fear death in a medium in which death is both impermanent and expected. Think about that. It breaks the #1 rule of video games, that dying is no big deal, and it makes you feel genuine, visceral fear.
This whole design is so effective and the experience is so immersive that it just leaves a permanent mark on you. People who play it don't just remember playing the game. Years later, they talk about it like they remember being there.
Which kind of leaves us with one last fascinating question. About us. What does it say about human nature that we willingly seek out these terrifying, stressful experiences just for the satisfaction of seeing if we can overcome them? Maybe the best answer lies in this final thought from another player, which I think just perfectly sums up the game's power. Subnautica is the one game I wish got erased from my memory so I could experience it again for the first time. It's a testament to an experience so unique, so profound, that its only real flaw is that you can only truly have it once.